Boom, there it is. There's everybody. For a moment I was like, oh my god, I never did anyone's screen region, but actually everyone's here. What's up? Welcome to Natural Expansion episode 4. I'm Wardí, and we've got a whole array of people here today, as you can see on the screen. We're going to go from left to right. So first of all, my co-host here today, Lycan. What's up? How you doing, man? How's your week been? Or 2 weeks?
Doing good. It's been a nice week off. I like this whole 1 week on, 1 week off thing. But I'm glad to be here, and there's a lot of shit to talk about.
There is indeed, and that's why we've got the main man himself, Kevin de Koning, with us as well, taking the center of our screens, because where else would you place him? What's up, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm ready to talk PvT for hours on end.
For hours on end. Well, we're only going to talk it for an hour because that's all you told me you could do. So, you know, I couldn't actually afford to get Kevin de Koning for more than 1 hour, so we just had to settle for the 1 hour alone. So yeah, Optimus, he's back once again. We can't get rid of him. We tried to block him on Skype, but then we switched to Zoom. So, dude, what's up? How you doing?
I had to pay my my entry on the show. It's all good. It's all good.
All right. And to the far right-hand side of your screens, we have got Dead Pixels FeaR as well. What's up, my man? How is the ladder treating you?
The ladder's treating me really bad, man. That's why I'm here. Trying to make it better, you know, by talking shit about PvT.
You're gonna try and get Terra nerfed and Protoss buffed, and then like swap the win rates around and more.
Exactly.
Disgusting.
That's the plan.
Absolutely disgusting. All right, well, obviously this is Natural Expansion where we talk StarCraft 2, and we're going to dive right on into PvT, which is our main discussion of the night. We're going to do this for about an hour. We're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and discuss some extra little bit of news and stuff as well for the second hour of the show. So that's going to be what's going on. So we're going to talk PvT because PvT is apparently completely broken. Lycan has been reporting less than a 40% win rate. I did, before my real life went to... shit hit the fan last night, basically, in real life, and I had a really good game plan where we were going to guess kind of things, guess percentages that were actually lower than the PvT win rate, but it didn't pan out. But that's my fun idea for next time, that something is literally 40% or less. So PvT is pretty broken. I mean, let's just start out. What I want to find out from Optimus, I'm going to go to first, is what are you doing in TVP to win so much? Like, what is your general game plan when you jump into a TVP?
I like building my buildings on the other side of the map. It's a good, it's a good strategy. No, I mean, Cyclones are really good right now. If you proxy Cyclones and they expect Widow Mines, they die, and it's the other way around as well. So I think that's like the biggest problem right now. And range liberators are pretty bullshit too. So.
And is that the sort of stuff like you're losing to FeaR, like proxy Cyclones, or is it something past like, you know, just the proxy Cyclones going crazy and stuff?
Well, I think it's not exactly the proxy itself. It's just the diversity of builds that Terran has right now, and the fact that we always have to watch out. Specifically, there are some builds that you can't
Stop you right there. Stop you right there. I want you to take that statement. I want you to look at it across the last 2 years of Protoss. So go mid 2015, early 2016, go back to 2014, and a little bit of the end of 2013. Diversity of builds, fucking buildings on the other side of the map. That sounds like Protoss, the shit that we had to deal with for fucking years. I know that you want the game to be balanced, but I just want to point out, how does that feel? I want to know that a little more importantly than what's giving you trouble.
A journey into the mind of a Protoss.
Do you really want to know?
Yeah, I want to know how it feels. Tell me, does it feel dirty? Because I think that was a very common word used.
Well, not exactly dirty, but it just feels like rape, you know? It doesn't feel deserved. It's like when you're a child and you didn't do anything wrong, but your dad is being a piece of shit. He's just coming to you and he rapes you, you know? That's how it feels. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. It just happens. That's exactly how it feels. I couldn't describe it any better, I think. But yeah, anyway, to go on a bit about my point, I think it's not exactly the Cyclone itself. It's just the fact that they can do so much. It's like, if we know Cyclone is coming, we can win. But if we know Cyclone is coming and there's Widow Mine coming, we're fucked, like Optimus said, pretty much. And I just dislike the diversity, because you can literally do anything and just aim at the Protoss.
Do you think it's a case of Protoss in peril, there's nothing you guys can do, or is there a meta undiscovered? And you think that, have we given this enough time to be worked out?
Well,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, Kevin, go on.
Could I take this one?
Yeah.
I think the issue is that normally when you're playing against one base build as any race, it's fine if the other guy can do a very powerful one base build, but you should be capable of getting out of this situation ahead. And the problem against Terran one base builds is that the only way to be capable of dealing with them seems to be to stay on one base, which basically changed the meta of PvT, at least in Korea right now, to TOS doing like one base pylon rush into Oracle every single game, just to scare the Terrans away from doing their own proxy. And then every now and then they'll play a two-base build, which I think is an issue if TOS is forced into going one base every time just by the off chance of Terran proxying something on their side of the map. And there is ways for Protoss to go reactive one base, but the thing about going reactive one base is that you'll almost always be behind unless you have like the exact perfect reaction to the exact perfect build. And as FeaR and Optimus have mentioned, there's so many different kind of proxies. Like it can be proxy barracks, one marine into bunker, it can be proxy reaper into floating the barracks onto your natural so you can expand. There's so many different small variations that reacting to those builds is almost impossible. So what's happening is that a lot of Protoss are doing preemptive one-base builds. And even though they seem to be working kind of okay for Hero, like I think the Hero is the main guy doing them at the moment, and other Protoss are following suit. But I feel like this is just a matter of time until those, because there's only really one build that they're doing. Like this build isn't perfect, and if it's well defended, which is very possible by the standard Terran opener, then I think TOS is in not a great position. So I think that's one of the main issues. So that's also the problem that I have when we have the PvT discussion. And what I was a little bit scared about when we went into tonight is that all like 5 of us are just going to tell the people that are watching us that we have really no clue how to fix it, because it's very difficult to pinpoint what the exact problem is. And an easy solution would seem like nerfing Cyclone, but I think nerfing the Cyclone straight up would kind of bring TVZ back to basically 1 or 2 builds. And right now, I guess the third build would be the 2-factory Heli and Cyclone, which we've seen being used a lot in Korea at least. And otherwise, you only have the 2-1-1 left, and I guess some kind of Heli and 3CC or whatever.
TVC or TVP?
TVC.
Oh,
so I feel like if you nerf the Cyclone, that would ruin the options there. And I think it's a nice option to have in TVP as well, like a 3 Cyclone push to punish greedy Protoss players. But I feel like once you start proxying it, it becomes a little strong, and that's an issue.
So I guess what I'd say with that is, looking at the games that you've played in PvT, what is something that you think would be a beneficial change? And then I want to go from there into, just like you did with the Cyclone, right? You change the Cyclone, well, then that's going to affect TVZ, right? So what do you do on the Protoss side or the Terran side that could kind of account for it?
I think a nerf to the Cyclone to start with would be good, like lowering the damage or health or something. I don't know.
I mean, the damage a Cyclone does early game is like kind of ridiculous in
maybe what
every
they
matchup.
What they should do is like half the attack speed, but keep the damage, like the DPS, the same, but just make it microable.
Yeah, the micro.
No, it's just an A-move machine that you just send in and hope it, you don't micro it at all. I think that would be a good change, lowering the DPS, maybe the health.
So make it more difficult to use.
Make it 1 more supply. I don't know, anything like would be a good change. I don't think nerfing Liberators is the way to go. It's only going to make it more early game focused, more all-in-ish, and it's going to really ruin the meta.
Well, so let go ahead.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I think the only option they can't do is reverting the change, because I think before the Cyclone and PvT at least felt really useless, because you could just literally micro-leg with 1 prism and no unit would actually die.
I think it had its good point, like denying a prism or denying an Oracle. Now you need like 4 Cyclones to kill an Oracle before losing your entire mineral line. I think the old Cyclone was way better, to be honest.
Yeah, better, but limiting the aggressive options, I think. I think the plan was to make more aggressive options for Blizzard in early game, and they kind of had they have an overkill of aggressive options now. But reverting it back would mean there's like barely any aggressive options, I feel like.
So the problem is that Blizzard wanted to be kind of diverse in the early game, but right now it's too diverse and it's too strong, the kind of builds the Terran can do, and so it's making life difficult for the pros. So is this what everyone's agreeing on, that the real difficulty is just the early game and getting to like a decent mid game as a pros player?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, playing against Liberators at range is hard, but if you're behind 30 supply from the bat early game, it's impossible. So I think there's the main problem in early game. How you're gonna fix that exactly, I don't know, but it's definitely early game.
So the one thing I just want to kind of touch on quickly, I guess, before I kind of we go back to solutions and so on, is I saw some discussion as well of people kind of thinking like the combination of like Widow Mines and tanks and so on are very powerful right now. Do you think that's also an issue, like creating maybe kind of stronger mid games for Terran 2, which is also just kind of powering up from what is already a strong early game?
Perhaps, but it's more the snowball of like having good early game means good mid game, means a better late game.
Right.
Nerfing the early game will make the tank pushes weaker because Protoss will have more supply, will have better eco, will have more units, right?
So on that, I want to touch on that because I've been watching. I've been going over the GSL games again, and what I saw a lot in Group 1 is in TVP. They were opening with that, Marine tank push, like 2 tanks, bunch of Marines push, without a lot of early game shenanigans, like nothing proxy, nothing, really out of this world, just very basic Reaper fast expand. But the Terrans are still, doing pretty well. I mean, I guess I wonder,
Right. A lot of Protoss players also feel that the tank push is an issue, especially if you take any kind of damage early on. So we used to be able to expand to a third pretty quickly. And then the meta changed and we play a lot of 2-base Colossus. So we stay on 2-base longer. But that means that if you take early economical damage, you don't really make up for it because you just have like a lot less income than the Terran for some time. So the tank push is going to be extremely difficult to stop. And I think that might be an issue, but I'm not 100% sure if that is an issue that requires like a big nerf, because I only feel like this is an issue at the highest level, where if the Tosses take some kind of probe damage early on, either against like Reaper to Hellion or against some kind of mine drop, which, like, to be honest, they shouldn't really be taking damage against this, then the tank push is going to be very difficult, because once they really establish this tank push and 1 or 2 Liberators join up, like, this position becomes almost impossible to break, at least in my experience. Maybe Optimus or FeaR or something, but whenever I got it, I just get absolutely slayed by the Terran. Bada boom. Thanks to that, my Stalkers, and they die. So
for sure. I mean, especially when you get like 1 bunker down, it funnels the Zealots and the Adepts and becomes like even more impossible to deal with. I'm not sure how you exactly fix that. Maybe lower tank damage or tanks.
Well,
are
I mean,
like oh man, I wish they could go back to the old tanks. Really, it completely ruined TVT as well to be a huge coin flip doom drop fest. Just my opinion.
So I mean, this all came around with the latest patch, right, where they changed the Cyclone and increased tank damage. So it's kind of one of those things, like, we never saw tank pushes before now anyways, so is that just because the tank damage was increased? Is it that much better now to hold positions? Or is it just something that hadn't just that much better, right? So really, basically, what we're saying is that early game PvT just fucking sucks in every single way. Like, whatever you do seems to be really good as a Terran, as long as you don't just play like straight up bio or something.
Well, let's look at the 2 phases we've seen recently, right? Let's look at, and I think it came with the patch, right? Before the patch, it was a lot of early adept stuff. Terrans were getting better at holding it, but you had a lot of adepts at your front door. The adept all-in was really strong, especially with the warp present, things like that. And now you have where we are now, where Terran's really strong at preventing Protoss from really doing too much of that crap. Like, am I missing a phase in between where it was kind of even, or did we kind of jump from one extreme to the next?
well, I think what you mentioned early on was like before the adept nerfing. Was it February or early March? Like, I think after that there was still some bullshit that Pros did, but I felt like
stable.
Yeah, it was quite stable, really. Like, there was the Widow Mine drop for Terran, like the initial one with 7 Marines, 6 Marines, 1 mine. Then the triple mine drop into like the other base, or
Then
yeah, whatever. That was basically the only real aggressive option that Terran had, though. So I think that was a little bit of an issue.
The gas first. You had some gas first
Right.
aliens, and
I guess there was some.
the gas first 6 Marine, 1 mine drop into Liberator. There were some, but it wasn't very good. It was a coin flip, but it was good on Frost.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty stable meta, though. And from TOS, we mainly saw Oracle or just standard Blink play, and towards the end, a lot of 3-gate Robo into Colossus, which I think was extremely powerful, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like just turtling until 3 Colossus, like slowly taking a third, kind of part of the Swarm Cell. So yeah, I think you were missing a phase in between the first two there. I think it was quite a stable matchup for some time already.
Okay, so let's go back to trying to figure this out then, because well, I guess actually before we do, let's talk about what Blizzard have already proposed, which is nerfing the Liberator. So some pros players are quite happy about this. They think that it's actually going to be something that, I know Mana was tweeting that he feels it's something which is going to help. He doesn't know if it's definitely going to be the answer, but so my question is, like, I actually feel as though if we get to kind of a later game situation in PvT, that Terran's very reliant on the Liberator, and Terran P pros, if it goes late game without someone being at a huge advantage, is still kind of even. Like, you can see, I mean, this is my point of view from what I've seen, and don't take my word on it or anything, and please tell me I'm wrong. But like, I was casting, for example, a few PvTs yesterday, and when I was casting the PvTs, like, if the Protoss go out in a decent position, they were able to fight the Terran, and you know, they were able to take down Liberators, and it didn't look as though that was the issue, right? You know, that looked as though that was kind of something that was kind of okay. So are Blizzard just completely targeting the wrong part of the game? Is this nerf actually just gonna really kill Terran later game, or?
I wonder what Harstem's opinion on this, but I think it's gonna. I don't think the problem with the Liberator is the damage; it's the range upgrade. I think everybody can pretty much agree on that.
Do you think it really comes too early?
Not necessarily too early. It's just that once they're in position, you have to blink under, you have to blink into the Widow Mines, and your Stalkers die. It's just, it sieges at like, what, 20 range or something? I'm not too sure. But it's, with like, from the range below the Liberator to the max range is like 20 or so. I'm not too sure. But,
I'd be more comfortable with a Liberator nerf than a mine nerf, which was also brought up.
Can I come in here?
Yeah.
Like I think, like both the mine nerf and the Liberator nerf are, like, I don't think there's a different word than terrible for those ideas. Honestly,
it's gonna completely kill off.
Like honestly, if TOS does survive to the mid game, then, you know, get the lubrication ready, because I'm not going in dry, because then it might hurt, you know. Like, want to have it good and moist when I come in there with my big stove. You know what I'm gonna say. But anyway, like honestly, I believe right now it would be that you need +2 air attacks for Liberators to 2-shot Stalkers again. I think if they want to nerf.
If you have +1 armor, you need +2. But if you have +3 armor, it won't ever one-shot it, I think. Because if you're even on upgrades, it will never one-shot it.
Like, if they want to nerf the Liberator, they should nerf the damage to 80 instead of 85. So then it will still 3-shot Stalkers, I believe.
It should do 81 then, I think, because then if you have +2, it will no longer one-shot them. And if you have +3, you will need +2 to one-shot them.
Right. But like, regardless of that discussion, how much you need, I think it's a really bad idea to nerf the Liberator. Like, the Liberator isn't an issue. It's only an issue in harassment if you're out of position. And if you're out of position, like, you're still gonna take damage, no matter how much damage it does. So it's such a weird way to target the Terran early game. And it's a really bad way to target the mid game of this matchup, because I believe once TOS is in a good position in mid game, gets their Colossus and their playing Stalkers, they're in a very good position. And I would go even further than what Optimus said. I think, like, late game, TOS is still very favored. Like, Tempest might be 6 supply, but I feel like whenever I get to late game, I have a very, very good win rate in PvT. Extremely good win rate. And like, basically the same as before the patch. It's not so much about the supply that the Tempest costs, but it's about the time you need for getting them out. So, and like 3 Tempest most of the time is enough. You don't really need 6 anyway. You get 2-shot Liberators, and slowly but surely you'll break the position. So, I think targeting the Liberator, nerfing it would be a very bad call.
Yeah, to follow up on that, I also think like once people realize how bad the Liberator will become, it's going to be even more early game focused, and there will be a ton more coin flip builds. I'm looking forward to proxying my barracks all over the map again. I don't know. I don't think it's the right way.
Do you feel the same, FeaR? Just across the board?
Yeah.
New maps
Okay.
will probably help a lot in that sense as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, to pick up on Harstem's point, I think that's absolutely true. Once Tempests are out, I actually would go as far as a good Protoss would never lose. Or rather, the guy who plays good wins. Like, the Terran doesn't have any chance, I think. Even if he plays perfect, there's no way. If the Protoss doesn't make a huge mistake, he should always win. But I think the Liberator nerf would actually break the matchup even more, going as far as you don't even need Tempest anymore. You just literally just blink under them and win with 200 supply, I think. Obviously, this is just speculating, but I would imagine that's how it's gonna be. Right now, other Protosses are thinking that it's a good idea, and I think mainly the issues with Liberators right now are the maps. Because the maps sometimes aren't very open. Besides Vani, it's very choky, to say the least. So 2 or 3 Liberators usually prevent you from going in all the way. So I think first of all, new maps, and then take another look will be the right approach. And forgetting about the Liberator nerf overall will be the best, I think.
I feel like Liberators hinder map design so much, though, especially with like Habitation Station and Cactus Valley. They have that like one weird spot where you can put the Liberator and it won't get hit by Stalkers ever.
I guess I'll leave it to you guys to say, but I mean, is it that bad if it's on the 3rd base? Like to have to build some sort of tech to deal with that?
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a real issue. It basically forced Protoss into Stargate on Habitation. Because if you don't open Stargate, like I said, you basically need to stay on 2 bases until you have a decent amount of Colossus. And affording a Stargate with that it's just not viable, because you don't have enough gas for this kind of shenanigans to get like a Phoenix out or a Void out or something like that.
That's not entirely true though, is it? Like
if you go like yeah, go.
Like, didn't stats have this one build, like free get Robo Fast Colossus and then just take the gold instead?
Yeah,
I see it on Cactus
always...
Valley, but not on Habitation. I think on Habitation there's space to work around with builds.
But then you have like just one specific build. I think
that shouldn't
force you too
much. There's no variety.
Then you will go tank push the gold and you auto win because it's unbreakable. So
is it? I saw stats holding it pretty easily, to be honest.
I mean,
I haven't
never
tried it
played
myself.
But
I just
like maybe one game. Like in theory, this honestly shouldn't work.
All right.
Okay. Just before we move away from talking about Liberator, if Risky in the chat asks, what about increasing the siege or unsiege time on a Liberator? Do you think that would have any effect? I guess.
Like the issue isn't with the Liberator though. Like I'm not sure why. Like the issue is either, I guess, with the maps, or as I can't remember who said it, maybe Optimus, that like it kind of limits map design in a way, but
okay.
Like I really don't feel like the Liberator is the unit to target. Like it's a strong unit, and if it gets nerfed, yeah, sure, I'm probably gonna win more games, but it doesn't really help me in the early game, I feel like, and that's where I would like to help.
So our issue really is the early game, and to kind of go back to what we're saying, the Terran has so many different builds they can do, and the problem with that is the Protoss doesn't exactly know what to do against it. So, you know, back in the day, you know, if a Protoss, for example, used to proxy a Stargate, Terran knows they just get an Engineering Bay up, right? And then it's either they expand after an Oracle, or they're going to bust you with Forge Rays. So it's kind of very limited choices. But what we're saying now is that the Terran has so many different ways to utilize a proxy and to kind of take an early advantage that it's almost impossible to come out in a relatively decent position. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, and then you have, like, the thing that's annoying as well, that a lot of these builds require very specific responses. So you have these guys who are basically like the reincarnate of Lucifer, just practicing this dumbass build against the AI for 2 months. And then they come out in a tournament and they take your WCS points. moves. You know, that's the kind of stuff that we're going to have to deal with because you've never seen it before. And you'll watch the replay and you'll probably understand what to do against the build. But there's just so many builds and it's like so many things, and it's quite frustrating. Like I finally. Lycan mentioned it earlier. I finally feel like what a Terran felt like for years now. you're just getting fucked over and over. It's just so sad.
It's the same shit we had to put up, man. Blink on the Onsu, 48 time warp on the ramp. GG.
Other than the issue of Cyclones not being able to micro like they used to, which was one of the best parts of the Cyclone. I like the way Terran feels right now, and I worry about. And I'm not saying feels from an overall perspective. I mean, playing Terran feels really good right now. So I do kind of worry that what's going to happen if we change it. So I harken back to the example of the blink all-in, which was one of the most frustrating things for Terrans for a long time. But near the end, after so fucking long of dealing with that struggle fucking every tournament, wishing that Tasia or someone else was going to make it to the end of the goddamn tournament, and they don't, people started to figure out a little bit of Widowmine, a little bit of Bunker. It started to become less effective. So I just wonder, is there anything in the arsenal right now that just hasn't been tried?
Well, it's just a different issue, right? Because the issue with that was it was just a straight up strong build. And eventually you figure out that if it's the same thing coming your way, you sort of know what to respond with, right?
Well, it was also the maps, though. Wasn't
Right,
it?
yeah,
Like,
exactly. The maps
big-
are very
big-
nice too.
Yeah.
Like Heavy Rain. Do you remember Heavy Rain? Specifically, like,
The red map with like
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god, dude.
like everything was blinkable, and like the
And
Terran had to
Polar Knight?
walk towards
Polar
the
Knight?
ramp. Yeah, Polar Knight. Like, come on, guys, get it
5
together.
bunkers. You needed 5
Yeah,
bunkers.
Like even Expedition Lost, where there was like rocks and stuff, like it could be a little tough. Like there were so many bad maps for Terran, I felt like, and that kind of restricted the map makers as well, I guess, in all sort of maps that they could pick from to
And
use
also-
on the ladder and tournaments.
Also the time warp. It was like a half a minute.
Oh right,
Oh,
they
yeah.
nerfed time
Forgot
warp.
about that.
Enough
That was
that's
probably
twice.
the biggest part. After that, I don't think we saw that many blink all-ins anymore, right?
Lil Wild tried every
Yeah,
now and
but-
then.
Good old little always there.
So-
meme.
So I guess this brings us to the most important part, which we obviously tried to touch on a little bit earlier, but what do we actually change then to try and fix this early game issue? Because, we sort of said, well, maybe it's the Cyclone, but is it really just this, like, is the Cyclone being changed what allows all these different builds? Is that exactly what it is? Or...
I think, sorry for interrupting, but I think making the Cyclone one more supply, I think that's a change you could try with, because nobody makes Cyclones in mid-game, and some builds are like very supply dependent, right? So like in pretty much every build you have 31 out of 31 supply, but when you go for proxy Cyclone and stuff like that, I think that's gonna limit some builds or make them delayed, giving Protoss more time.
Would you just cut one SCV?
I mean,
Problem solved. The Protoss mind at work here.
I mean,
He's been
we're
cutting
not
probes for years.
we're not happy here. Come on, man. We're not cutting us. No, but yeah, I guess. But I don't know. That I feel like that, or maybe make the DPS half and the attack speed half, or like DPS double, attack speed half.
So I kind of like that idea that Optimus has, but not necessarily exactly what you're saying, but like the idea of making the Cyclone more of a micro-focused unit again. Because right now it really is like click on the target that you want to blow up and it blows up.
Not
know?
even click. I think it prioritizes. It's
Yeah,
just an
exactly. I mean,
aim move machine.
it's really safe. But if you make these sort of builds a bit more kind of reliant on micro and then more reliant on Protoss micro to defend it as well, is that gonna maybe solve the issue? I mean, again, like I guess the issue's still there. If you can do this build, is it one too many builds you can do to pressure? But maybe that sort of micro limits the sort of builds you can do in some way or something.
I don't know how it would like help Protoss though. It just seems like you nerf the bad players of the race for now, which I guess isn't a bad thing.
Okay, yeah, that's
Like
fair
on the other,
enough.
like I don't really care what Johnny and Bronze has to deal with when it comes to the Cyclone. Like,
Yeah, that's true, but I think that in general, the Cyclone feels like a horrible unit to good
Yeah, like it
turns.
wouldn't be it would be a good design change, that's for sure. But
And then you can also experiment with other things, like maybe, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of anything on top of my head, but I think better maps will definitely help. Like maybe a ramp on the natural. I think that's key. Habitation station, it's almost impossible to proxy cyclones, making it, you know, a bit harder to pull off some bullshit. I think map design is very important nowadays, but I don't know. We're getting great maps again, so.
So maps will help. But is there something we can do to target like the Cyclone specifically? I mean, let's go to Harstem. What would
Maybe,
make your life so much easier right now? Like, apart from the Cyclone not existing, or making barracks have to build next to command centers or something.
I don't know. Maybe increase time on the Cyclone, like that could help with timings, I guess. But I'm not sure how useful that would. Like maybe you just absolutely make the Cyclone useless. I feel like the only time we see the Cyclone is in TVP, that is when it's proxied. So I guess then you kind of kill it. It's a really a tough dilemma. I've been thinking quite a bit about it because I also want a solution for all my ladder losses. But I'm really not too sure how to fix this. It has to be the Cyclone in my opinion. I think the Liberator is the wrong call.
I think also nerfing the Cyclone will make TVT great again. Because right now, TVT, it's Gas First, Go Reaper, Cyclone, Raven. Into double medevac drop is the only viable build, because if your opponent does anything different, you auto-lose the game. Unless it's like proxy double Rex Marauder. Because Cyclones are too good, Reapers are too good, and Ravens are too good. I don't know. I feel like TVT is already, the hope is already lost now with the tank and the Cyclone.
FeaR, anything other than just the target the Cyclone?
Yeah, I just tend to agree with Harstem. I think you brought up a good point. Making the build time, giving it a few more seconds, I think would be good. Else, DPS could also be fine. Well, I don't want to speculate how it's gonna be good or bad, but you can't. I think like DPS nerf would be too harsh because you would make it absolutely useless then. But if you go by building time increased, it would still be useful against greedy players, I guess. Like, if you go absolutely mental on your build and you're like greedy as fuck as Protoss, you can still die, which could be useful. While DPS nerf could still be like, you just press 1F on the overcharge and it's all good, you know?
Right. How about this, boys? We buff the anti-air again.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that'd be cool.
We give a little anti-air push. Then we nerf the ground damage, so the unit doesn't absolutely destroy everything on the ground. I'm not sure if we need to do a HP nerf or something like this.
I think that would be a good start, just to see how it goes.
Or even something like one less range. Like, that wouldn't impact TVZ that much, because I believe you defend the Heli and Cyclone shit with, like, Ling Roach, whatever. So, I guess Queen Ling Roach. And I think one less range would really help against Stalkers, mainly for the Stalker player. And if the range is one less, you could even experiment with giving it the same amount of DPS, but a lower fire rate, or higher. No, lower fire rate. Lower. So it would be a little like more microable.
What's the range right now? Is it 6 or is it 5?
No,
it's 6. Same as the Stalker, I believe.
If you make 6. It 5, Queen has 5 range to ground, right? And like 7 to air?
Yeah, 9 to air, buddy.
Is it 7 to ground and 9 to air?
Look at him. Still living in his little dream world.
Remember when Queens had 3 range? I
remember. Remember when fucking oracles would sometimes fly away from 2 queens, man.
I mean,
I think a range nerf and or what you said earlier is probably the best bet to try. And if that doesn't improve anything, see if you can like increase build time, maybe supply. I don't know. I feel like the Cyclone is the biggest problem, because if if the Cyclone doesn't have as much stopping power as it does right now, it's not gonna snowball as hard.
So we just need to figure out something with the Cyclone, you guys think?
So
Hey,
my biggest thing...
Oh yeah, go on.
No, go ahead.
No. I was just gonna bullshit a bit.
No, it's just that I think that you guys need to be having these conversations in public, like not with just us on the show, but amongst yourselves and your fellow pros and GMs and all that. But then you guys need to take it to the forums, start a thread, have everyone weigh in, something like that. Because at the end of the day, everyone making a stink is going to get Blizzard to think, something's wrong. The community's angry with us. We got to respond. They only have so many people to do something. There are way more of you guys than there are the balance devs.
Yeah, we don't really like communicating open too much because it's whenever professional players they communicate in open about this kind of stuff or write a blog, they get a lot of backlash. And if they lose the next tournament, we get a lot of shitty messages like, "Oh, should we spend the time practicing?" And you kind of get this negative vibe around this person that always complains or writes blog posts. I think Mana had quite a bit of backlash last time he did this, and I think that kind of, put him off a little on making another Battle.net thread ever again in his life. So I think the optimal solution would be if we would have a more of a direct line with Blizzard, but not in a one-on-one setting, so we can kind of keep a social check on each other, that no one is pushing too hard for his own race. Because I think that might be an issue if you get into this one-on-one sessions with the developers or whatever, the balance designers, where you can really, some nice propaganda for your race, and then just like that, RF's two-shot SCVs again.
Road to relevancy.
So it's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, and you should have this. I think you would, but I have an email address for you.
We all know the email address.
You guys have that?
Yeah, we would like a bit of a quicker, like a direct feedback, so we can explain our thought process. Normally, whenever you write an email, sometimes it's good to write everything down in one go. But I feel like most of the time it's nice to have a little bit of a conversation with other people being there to check you as well.
Wasn't there once upon a time a Skype group?
Like, you don't want to know what kind of pagan stuff went down in there, man.
Can only imagine.
I remember. That's actually. Were you in there, or
did we have some story time here for the irrelevant people?
So that was like when I was still really, really irrelevant, and I remember as I was started becoming a little less really irrelevant, I had asked one of the community or the Blizzard people, I'm like, "Hey, could I join that Skype group? I'd like to give some opinions." And they're like, "That group isn't for what you think it is."
No, it wasn't. Oh, it was so good because Destiny was in there, and Medalisk was in there as well, I think. So we had like Mini Razor, Targa. We had like all the boys, and everything they had was just constant memes and like insults and arguments all the time. And like we never spoke about StarCraft. And then also Sion was there, so sometimes he would like bring up a topic and he'd be like, hey guys, what do you think about the new maps? And someone would say like, "I hate feminists," and like 5 was yeah, fuck feminists. And like, what? And then Sion wouldn't say anything for like another 20 days. Actually, thinking back of that Skype group, it's not that crazy that we don't have a direct line with Blizzard.
I was gonna say maybe suggest they make a new one, like moderate it a little more, but
you wonder why they don't listen.
It's just it
you
was
guys
so
killed
funny.
StarCraft.
Yeah, we might have actually killed StarCraft in that Skype group. It was just the funny thing was that it seemed like we started with like 20 reasonable kind of people, and then we just kind of started adding more, sneakily. We'd go like
420, something like that.
Yeah, like Sion, we were like, "Hey, who did you guys do that?" Don't worry about it. It's a friend of mine. He's cool. Just like that, there was 35 guys, just constantly like big political arguments. Like, man, I would have loved to have this Skype group during the election. That would have been some real fire with Destiny. That was a good time. Thanks for reminding me of that.
When was that? Was that like early HOTS or we?
Like maybe 2 years ago, 2.5.
Yeah, I asked about it like 2014 or something like that.
Yeah,
it's incredible. The thing is, I'm not even surprised by the people who were in there. Like, it doesn't surprise me that that's how it ended up. I don't know if that's good or bad. I
Like,
could just...
it was pretty predictable.
I
It
mean-
should have been moderated a bit more harsh, but I think Sion didn't want to, make enemies everywhere, so it was like, let's just see where this goes. And then, it was too late to moderate. There was 35, the dogs without a belt, like just running around, like biting each other, like shitting on each other's lawn. Like it was absolute anarchy in that Skype group.
Honestly, it reminds me a bit of your Clan War matches. You guys have no idea. When Harstem shows up to manage a Clan War match, you do not start on time because you got to sit for like 20 minutes of shit talk between not to the other team, between each other. Like they all show up, they're like, "Oh really? Why is Mini Razor here? Is he actually playing? Like, oh, he actually plays." It just never ends. Brilliant. It's the only reason
we win
I
all
run
our
the team.
matches though, Wardí.
You win all your
of them.
matches because you show up and you like, well, you're not fucking playing your shit. Then they're like, oh shit, we've got to play Mini Razor. Okay, fine, send him out. He actually wins the map. Everyone's like, can't believe it, lads. Brilliant.
I like watching what's his name, Nurchio and Bly in the what do you call it, the lobby. Bly in particular, because he'll make some fucking snide little remarks, but he's a really nice guy. I like him.
Yeah.
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 It's been a long time since I've had an awkward moment. All right. And
The stories on fleek there, like, let's go.
sorry, I wanted to add something. I'm staring at my dog.
Oh, well, I think that concludes that we've basically exhausted the PvT chat.
Fix the cyclone or the game is fucked. That's right. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry.
Okay, you don't have to punish the dog for the cyclone.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I think to go back to the topic a little bit, the Liberator is definitely not the right way, and it's gonna really make mid-game, late-game difficult. I think if you're gonna nerf the Liberator to do the damage, like just 1 out of 1-shotting the Stalker when they have +2 armor, I don't know. I don't think this is the right way.
Basically, by nerfing the Liberator, you just forcing the Terran players to do more bullshit in the early game, so it gets even worse.
Yeah,
That's what we're saying.
and then it will be like, when was that time when there was only one base built by Terran, like early Legacy, or was that?
Yeah, early legacy.
Oh right, when every build was Liberator tank push or whatever.
Yeah, because adepts were too strong back then. People just all in like crazy.
Oh my god, those adepts.
Oh, great times.
Yeah, great times. I'm sure.
He has literally never seen GM before.
It's so sick. Like the adept 2-shotting SCVs. I mean, it just it blew me out of the ballpark that they would put this in. That there's like
that if there was something that could kill the Marines.
It 2-shot Marines as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, that's so disgusting. Even with combat shields, right? It's
No.
just.
No, not with combat shields.
No,
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 that's
You had to
But the
stim.
thing is, you could get like 7
Yeah,
gate adept
stim.
before combat shields. It was
Yeah, but
sick.
you had to stim. So even with combat shields, they still
Yeah,
get 2-shot.
Yeah. And then we started having to make a lot of early Marauders, and that kind of helped with it. But you could still make more adepts than you can Marauders.
Yeah, but Marauders don't do DPS.
No, they don't.
So
Marauders keep you alive, but don't actually get rid of the problem.
God, the first part of Legacy of the Void was a nightmare for Terran.
and pry on terraces.
That was just payback though for the first part of Heart of the Swarm being amazing for Terran. You remember the days of like just Hellbat dropping every game?
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna open Bio with some random Hellbat drops because it's just so good.
Weren't there like 4 helmets in the medevac as well?
That was in the beta, I think. That was in
No,
the
it
beta.
was
That
a-
was really dumb.
Was it only in the beta?
Yeah,
No,
it was only in the beta.
Just beta.
They changed it in the beta to 2
Oh,
Hellbats because that would have been really disgusting.
Good times.
that was powerful.
That was indeed. All right, anyone got any final words? Otherwise, we'll wrap this up, hit a break, and move on to the rest. No. All right. Well, Harstem, I know we're actually having Harstem and Optimus leave us because they both got stuff to do. So FeaR's getting left with the hosts. Poor Gate.
I have
Let's get
10 more
moving.
minutes left if you want to discuss something
Yeah,
very important.
15, 20. If you want to discuss
Oh,
maps or something, we can do it.
We
What do
could
got
do.
going on?
We could do maps now if you guys want. You guys got much to say about the new maps?
They're very great.
Do you want a link for them?
Do you have a screenshot or?
I got a link to the page which you can screenshot with.
While
Put
he's
in the Zoom.
getting that up, I want to know what you guys think about. What do you guys think about? My brain farting. What do you guys think about the fact that they keep bringing back these old maps?
It's disgusting.
I actually don't mind it too much, but they have to do
Really?
very good maps. I think Nuker has been one of my favorite maps to play again, and I think it's quite well fit for Legacy. But then I checked Reddit, and everyone disagrees with me, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm
What
gonna
map was that,
disagree
sorry?
here. I really hate the old maps. I don't know. I think it's just
What about
They
Nuker
were-
though?
it's so bad for TVZ.
Mm,
Uh,
I just find
It's-
Nuka kind of boring.
And
Personally.
TV, yeah, it's like so generic. Like it's Daybreak 2.0, more expansions. You know, I don't know. Bringing old maps back, they were made for like 4 years ago. The meta has changed. The game has changed.
like I don't think necessarily old maps is a bad thing by definition, but
Not
some of
necessarily.
some of the maps that they brought back are a little debatable. Like I said, I liked Vani, I liked Nuker. So those were nice maps to bring back, but once again, it's probably gonna be people disagree.
I think it's
I
just
think
also the
Dark
fact we've
Knight-
seen Daybreak like so many times now because
Yeah.
it was in forever, and we saw it last year again. Like, I think it's that sort of
Daybreak,
thing that
Daybreak and
pisses both ways.
Overgrowth, they really pissed me off.
Yeah.
Like, these maps don't belong anymore in competitive play.
And I think Cactus Valley is okay though. I don't know. I think that one is pretty
Yeah,
fun.
it's a
I
fun
mean,
map.
And which other map are they bringing back? It's
Belshire
right?
Vestige.
Ah,
Belshire will be
yeah.
interesting because I think Belshire was kind of fun, even though there's this meme about it being the same as Daybreak, which it sort of is. Like, it's
was
like
different,
Daybreak
though.
on
It
its
played out
side.
a lot different.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. I actually used to like Belshire. It was just straight up standard, but also kind of interesting in a way. Like nice and aggressive, but not just straight up gonna kill you with proxy cyclones
Mhm.
every
So-
game.
I've got the old maps in front of me, by the
Yeah.
way. If you,
Well, the new maps, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna start kick this off with Abyssal Reef, which is the first map that comes up because it starts with A. Alphabet is good, isn't it? So I've been on these maps a little bit to actually look around them, and this one to me it feels really interesting because it's got a lot of different pathways, and this is one of the things I like about kind of StarCraft maps when they've got lots of different options of where you can go. But you're heading in to the same place, but you can go in different ways, and it encourages map control. It encourages you to be active on the map. There's no towers either, so it's not just like you can watch 4 of these pathways with like 1 marine.
Mhm.
Like you really have to fight for map control. So this is probably my favorite map of the new maps. But I mean, I'm just some guy that talks about StarCraft. I don't actually have to play on these things. So
When I played it, it felt like quite a fun map to play, you know? And it felt like every game I would play on, I think I played in total like something like 20, 25 games on it. And every game I played felt kind of different in the way of unit movement. When we take a map like Overgrowth, like every time you move across the map, you take the tower first, then you move towards the tower, then you move towards the other tower, or you push, if you spawn right top, you push down to the third, you know? But here, there was a lot of different ways you can do, lots of nice routes to counterattack. Opening up the rocks really gives you nice new opportunities. I think this is a really well-made map. The only bit of criticism that I would have is that tank pushes are extremely difficult to stop on this map.
you can actually hit the natural expansion mineral line with tanks. It's
Yeah,
pretty disgusting.
it's a real issue.
No, go for it.
Yeah, like that's basically it. You can like the rocks there, they don't help you. Like the little ramp down, it's really hard to go down there if Terra managed to siege up there. Even towards the third, like it's so difficult to set up a flank on this map that tank pushes are very, very strong. And then combined with the fact that checking where the army is going is quite difficult. Like it feels like a real struggle to beat tank pushes. But maybe we'll be able to figure them out. Maybe like a small change to the map could fix it. But I think this would be a Terran favorite map. In PvC, it seems like a very nice map. Like there are some advantages for TOS, lots of little chokes. So Roachling Bane is going to be easy to fight. But on the other hand, there's lots of nice counter-attack paths which can be used. So that could be good for sure.
Kev, one thing though, don't you think it might be too strong for carriers against it?
Oh yeah, all the maps are completely broken for carriers. I forgot to mention that. Good point.
I've got one question for the guys that played it. Did it feel like too bright for you? For me, it felt like way too bright. Because I play on medium high. It felt like my eyes got roasted almost when I first launched it. Yeah,
I think it was fine for me.
Sort
I
of
found
said
out-
the same when I played with him.
I don't know. It felt like brighter than usual. It happened before, like Foxtrot Labs. I want to say that. Do you remember in Heart of the Swarm? Like the,
Yeah, that
Foxtrot
was
Labs?
that
that
was.
was way too bright as well.
Was it Foxtrot? Was it not?
Deathwing? It might have been Deathwing actually. What was
Maybe.
it?
There's been maps in the past which have had that sort of issue. They're pretty good at fixing that though. I mean, it's not like they want it to be,
Yeah.
and
I think
like
for-
you know what I mean.
For TVC, this map is completely broken. I'm gonna call it now, but Terran will be like Whirlwind Cross. It's impossible to deal with Mutas and the encounters. For TVC, this will be like the apotheosis veto, the instant veto. I think. Yeah, hands down,
Alright.
in my opinion.
I'm just going to quickly move us on to the next one, which is going to be Paladino Terminal. This was their quote for this really makes me laugh. Paladino Terminal was chosen because it was one of the most solid maps from the last map contest. Like this really makes the map for me because this must be one of the most bullshit maps from the last map contest. Like it is not just solid at all. I remember I cast a game on this map and it was like such a combination of cheesy rush into all of a sudden I can't attack you because of ramps, but into like just absolute oh my god, my entire army's cornered. Like it was.
So I guess let's take the pros perspective. Like, I see maybe some blink opportunity. It's got a. I mean, is it that thing in front of the natural something that bothers you? What is it that?
Okay. It's FeaR. Do you want to take this one or?
I guess I can take some parts. Like I've played PvZ on this today against TLO, and I feel like the wall isn't exactly an issue. It's just like overgrowth, pretty much. You wall with 2 pylons, 2 gateways, and it's fine. But the space where he can link drop is actually insane, just for the early game already. And then of course it's really open. The third is really hard to take. There's a lot of distance, so there's pretty much no part where the map is any good for toss against Zerg already.
Yeah, and the brush distance is like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But there was another map. I'm sorry, I can't remember it.
Arena?
Yeah, that had kind of that similar open third. Is that-
No.
No.
I thought you were talking about the thing in the middle. Like that's the thing that's similar to Arena.
Yeah,
But,
you
the
can block,
open third
you can
on
block
this-
the middle as well.
Frozen Temple, maybe.
I can't remember what it was, but like it had there was the path in the middle, and there were the broken rocks, similar to how these are. I hate when I can't remember a map name, but we had a map like this in either the last season or the season before.
I think Frozen Temple with like the alley in the middle, the
Yeah.
snow map. Yeah. Frozen
But
Temple.
there were no rocks.
Yeah, there
Hold on,
was.
the middle
let me look it up.
Ah, there
on the
was rocks.
sideways. On the sideways.
On the
Yeah, on
sideways
the
there was
sideways, yeah, but not in the middle.
No. But
Okay.
for TVZ, I think this one is gonna be really Terran favorite from like the one to the opposite. That previous map was like insanely Zerg favorite. I think this one will be very Terran favorite. TVP, I don't know. Both sides, I think. There's like some proper banter builds you can do from both perspectives.
It looks like you could sneak a probe into that bottom left corner of the and top right corner of the 2 bases, and maybe do some proxy stuff in base.
Probably.
Oh, you mean the Sun Station, by the way? The
No, it was Frozen Temple was the one I was talking
Oh,
about.
okay.
But no, I'm talking about on this Paladin map.
Wait, where would you do that?
So you like if you came in and you just hugged the wall, like let's say you're going to the bottom base and you hug the wall at the top, you can go down in that bottom left corner and probably not be seen. But it looks like
No.
it's got a big area.
If
The
you,
name does look pretty big.
Yeah, but if you depot wall or pylon,
yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah, but no one pylon was. Terran could do that. Terran can do
Yeah,
anything. these
Terran
days.
could actually do that.
you might as well not build it at the natural. I don't know. I don't think it will even be there in time if I check the rush distance. Maybe.
It could be there for a factory, like you know.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Proxy
proxy
mine.
mine.
Oh,
Oh,
but then you might
Kev,
as well proxy the
fuck you.
Starport though.
Why did you bring it up?
You might as well proxy the Starport though then, and just go ahead.
Yeah,
Just
proxy
elaborate
the
within
mine.
1 second.
Proxy the mine in base, and then you have the starport out in that little. See the smiley face at the bottom of the map,
Yeah, no, build
Yeah,
both
that
of them
race
there. I think you should build both of them there.
and then you just have a Liberator and Widow Mine fest. It's a little raid party. You're all invited, Protoss.
All right. So we can all just agree that it isn't a solid map. That's the one thing I
Yes.
wanted to get across with for Paladino Terminal. Like it isn't a solid map. All right. Next up, Proxima Station. I don't really know what to think of this one. I actually haven't been in game on this one. Anyone got anything they want to?
Did they
Take it away
confuse the names? This seems like a solid map, to be honest. If I quickly look at it, it seems
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. It is.
maybe they confused the names. I don't know.
I think it actually really reminds me of Dusk Towers.
Really?
No.
Are we talking about the in-base? Yeah,
the three bases are kind of equal,
but look
but
at
then
this.
it varies a lot after that.
Those are destructible rocks right there, right? By your natural.
Yeah, that's like a
Yes.
back.
Oh, there's rocks at the natural.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
attack in the back to get into the natural.
I didn't even notice that. Oh, okay. Then I'm taking back everything I said.
It feels
This
more
is-
like Nimbus.
This is a nice map,
Nimbus.
but I think the issue here is that, like FeaR mentioned earlier, this map is a joke when you play carriers because Zerg can beat you here. Like the
Oh yeah.
engagement paths are a real issue.
Oh, it's all like chokes and stuff, and
Yeah, so I think this map once again would be good for Protoss and probably good for tanks as well, but that will have to be seen.
This is
Okay.
big for proxy. It looks like it's a very hard to path map.
Yeah,
If you
it,
plan it right.
yeah, you can proxy on a lot of spots as well. And
You've
like
got so
hard-
many back rocks as well. It's kind of. This is one of these ones I think you have to watch play out a few times and watch everyone figure out all the nonsense on it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's just gonna be crazy.
yeah. I think this map played in PvZ, like ground style against ground style, would be pretty fun. But I don't think any TOS is going to play ground style here because carriers will be completely broken.
I think ground style creep could be quite an issue though, because the creep is gonna be so insane.
The what?
Creep from Zerg, like it's so easy to creep on this map. It's actually insane.
Yeah, but the fourth is pretty far away from the third, and there's a lot of area to drop as well. So I think you can,
I could drop him.
yeah, like
Yeah, I can drop
could
could be very good on this map.
And the
I
100
agree.
prisms in general will be very strong here.
Right, let's move on to the last map then and wrap this section up. On a ground. Anyone got something they want to talk about on this?
Seems like another hard TVZ map. Unless you get vertical. Oh no, wait. Yeah, vertical looks okay. It's
The
kind of like
in-base.
Whirlwind, I guess.
I like the in-base.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is like.
Yeah, I hate when they do this. It triggers me so much. They make like the in-base, okay, great. But then they mess with the standard ramp. It needs 4 buildings instead of 3.
Ah, yeah, that is annoying.
I get so triggered by that. Why do they even still do that?
Ah, right, that's really bad for Terran in TVZ.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Oh,
it-
also going to be terrible in TVP.
Yeah.
Ah, ah.
I think either way,
And we
this
got
was
Kevin Happy.
I think
Yeah,
already
that's
though
happening
this was a veto in TVP though, because if you look at how far away or how close the bases are, there's like easy 4 bases for Protoss.
Yeah.
No drop space, no Liberator abuse. I don't know. It seems like a bad map for Terran in general.
Yeah. It seems like
Alright.
a nice map for you to veto.
Yep. Perfect.
Anyone else got anything else they want to say? Or we'll wrap this section up.
That fucking ramp is annoying. I didn't notice that until you pointed it out. So
Yeah, I
now
saw
I'm
it
gonna-
on
It really
Reddit. I
feels
don't know.
like. But like, once you get to like 4 bases on this map, aren't you just like. You got. I guess maybe it's the size of it that I'm not understanding here. Is that a watchtower that's in like each quadrant? This
Yeah.
must be much bigger than I
Yeah.
think. Like
Yeah,
between the
it
3
is, it is.
bases.
So, first of all, I hate Watchtower. It's weird seeing it. First of all, the Watchtower is so close to that, but I feel that if you figure out how to secure that ramp, I mean, getting 4 bases, they all seem pretty easily defendable. Like they all seem very close
yeah.
together. Like the 4th might be a little pushing it a little out of the way, but those 3 first bases are pretty tight.
Yeah, I'm just intrigued by this watchtower that like lets you see anything coming into your like right side of the map. It's going to be kind of interesting. All right, well we'll get to see how these play out. They go live in the next day or so, I think. I think it's already live on the name. Is it
Yeah.
tonight?
IM is gonna be on new maps apparently.
old maps.
IM's going to be on new maps, but
No,
the
old
qualifiers
maps,
are
old
old
Old maps, Kev?
Oh, yeah, the qualifier, sorry, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the
Oh,
qualifiers
yeah.
are old maps. The actual event will be new maps.
We dodged a bullet there. I didn't practice them except one. Whew. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Run
Backlash
them
incoming.
builds.
All right. Well, that does bring us to a nice hour, and with that, Harstem and Optimus are going to be leaving us, and FeaR gets to do the joys of doing the rest of the show because
Oh, shit.
he didn't come up with a good enough excuse, man. So, anything? Let's go to the main man himself in the middle, Harstem. What have you got to say on an outro? Anything you want to shout out? Go for it.
Yeah, sure. Shout out to the boys in the hood. 13137, Vlaardingen Holy represent. No teams, boys. I can do whatever I want now. I don't give a shit. Thanks for inviting me, Wardí and Lycan. I hope you have a nice evening. 3137, Vlaardingen Holy represent, guys. Don't forget. Bring it.
And Optimus.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even worth like trying to top that or saying anything.
No, I'm not even gonna try. Thanks a lot for having me, and yeah, have a lot of fun, and you too, Lycan. And thanks for everybody else who came on.
All right, sweet. Well, the three of us, me, Lycan, and FeaR, will be back soon to talk about the rest of the topics today. We're basically just going to do general news. We've done maps now, so general news, talk about Nation Wars a bit. We might be a bit under 2 hours, but we'll just see where it takes us to. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes because I've got to set up scenes once everyone gets kicked out of this call. So we'll be back with that in just a bit. Goes thanks to Optimus and Harstem for coming on. We'll be back in again about 5 minutes with our second half of the show.
See you guys soon.
We're not going to blow your ears off as we return. Good, went for a bit more of a gentle return rather than just everyone laughing when I turn the turn the volume back on. What's up, guys? So second half of the show, we went through PvT a bit faster than I thought because everyone just agreed, more than I thought they would. So we covered the maps already. So the last kind of, I mean, we try and aim for 2 hours here on the show. We'll probably be able to get close to it, but if not, it's no real problem. Of course, we'll just see what we can get done. So Woo Echo. Why is everyone saying Woo Echo? What's happened? Have I messed something up? Have I destroyed the chat? Have I destroyed
We have an
everyone's
echo.
ears?
I don't know. Hold on.
Hope not. I don't know how.
I don't hear an echo.
Oh,
Are
maybe it was. You know what? I know what it is. It's on the break screen. I think I have the I have my mic set in because I did something special with the audio last week. And it kind of failed, so it didn't matter. But I forgot it was like that, so it should be good now. All right, cool. So we're going to talk about general news and stuff. Usually, I like to start the show with this, but Harstem originally couldn't actually come on for the full 2 hours, so we did the PvT discussion first, which made a lot more sense. So we're going to kick this off, and this is such a dumb topic to start on based on the fact that he's just left, but we're going to talk about the Invasion Esports drama. So Invasion Esports player Harstem Major Lamb, pretty much everyone in Invasion has left because they're missing money, and basically their manager Sebu just stopped replying to everyone, and just hasn't replied to anyone anymore. So they're missing money from like WCS Championship at Montreal or something. You know,
Yes.
one of those WCS championships, and the reason they're missing money is it goes through the team, and the team does it so that it doesn't get taxed as much, because if you get taxed as an individual, it takes way more money off than if the team gets taxed for it. It's way less, basically. So they basically put the money through the team, and it's kind of similar to the Quantic situation way back when with Yun. Only with, I don't know what the money involved is here, but they're missing money, and this is kind of following on from the drama between Sebu and MVP/Gumiho about owing him money as well from a previous DreamHack like last year. That was drama we had earlier this year as well. So, I mean, there's not too much to talk about outside of the fact that it sort of sucks that a team that was so fairly legit, you know, these guys have been getting paid salary or whatever for a while, you know, everything's been fine for a few years, and then Sebu, who's kind of like, you know, friends with everyone. I don't know if you guys have met Sebu ever. I mean, I've met Sebu, I've hung out with him, played games, you know, he's been at Home Story Cups and stuff, and all the rest of it, and he seems like, you know, always seems like a cool guy, then he just disappears into nothingness. It's kind of like, well, you know, that happened, you know? It's kind of crazy. So we're past this.
The crazy thing to me is the fact that people get their salaries, sorry, not their salaries, their game winnings, going through these organizations without some sort of, you know, I don't know what their contract was like. I don't know what it looked like, but that feels really not something I would do, even in this state of esports.
So I mean, Harstem actually went on a show with Katz and talked about this a little bit, and he said, well, it's sort of his fault in a way, because he should have been able to see that something was wrong and contacted people sooner. But the reason he does it is, again, because it kind of minimizes tax, right? But
Yeah,
I think
30%.
by a huge amount, like, it makes a huge difference. But the thing is, like, I think what Harstem also even said there, was someone I had a discussion with said it, is that it's very easy just to set up your own business or company name. So, for example, I think I know Uthermal has one. You know, he's basically Uthermal is Uthermal Gaming. So anything he wins goes to Uthermal Gaming, and it's the same as being like, you know, it's the same thing as your team. Like, it doesn't get taxed the same way because it's going to Uthermal Gaming instead of Mark Schlappy, right? So it's one of these things where it's just kind of, I guess, a wake up call, really, to kind of be like, hey guys, pay a bit more attention, like be a little bit more careful. Otherwise, you might get scammed. I mean, it is sad though. Like, I thought we were past the days of teams kind of disappearing and losing money. Like, you know, I mean, when was the last time we had a scam like this? Like, I say a scam. When was there a scandal like this? I can't even think.
Well, I mean, like this. What was it? What's that team's name? Destiny.
I can only remember Quantic.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. I think
Love Your Girlfriend, maybe.
Love Your Girlfriend.
They were small, but I didn't know they did that much.
Did they actually have drama, or were they just like?
I think the owner just disappeared because he had heart issues or something, and he took all the money for himself.
Right.
There was some drama. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I remember it too. Because the Love Your Girlfriend was like the meme for a while. You know, it was the meme of the, you know, for like a decent portion of the StarCraft 2, and every team after then was like, oh my god, is this another Love Your Girlfriend meme? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only so much we can sort of. I mean, ideally we should have kept Harstem here. We should have just done this part just before he left. But I mean, it's just sort of sucky that it's happened. So obviously, Invasion Esports kind of know more. Maybe Sebu shows up and he's like, "Yo, I fell in a coma for like a month or two, something." You know, like,
yeah.
you know, like, you know, something might have happened to him, but just no one can contact him, which is obviously kind of weird. So.
Because he's too busy driving his new, what was it, Ferrari? Or
yeah,
Porsche?
that's the thing as well. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to steal this money because, to everyone that knows him, he's got money, right? And that's the thing. It's not just some shady organizer who's like started up their team. He's not a full-on Aldaris kind of guy. He flies some guy out to a team house, which is actually his basement or something, you know, and all the rest of it because he wants them to buy. But yeah, like this was like someone who was friends with a lot of people in the scene who. You know, he was a regular at events who people knew, who people drank with and went to meals with, you know, like it
doesn't take a lot to lose a fortune, you know. I mean, I don't know what kind of money the guy had.
That was something that was brought up as well back on the Cats show. I think actually, if you want to kind of find out a bit more about this topic, definitely check out Cats show, because you'll be able to find it on like Cats YouTube or something. Because they had Harstem on and they discussed it when he announced this. And it's probably just the best way for you guys to figure out a little bit more about what's going on or all the rest of it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a serious situation. It always sucks. It makes it feel like, you know, esports isn't as mature as it would be, right? I mean, you know, even just a year and a half ago, I think it was, we were hearing stuff about ninjas in pajamas having financial issues, but they're still here, you know. So even these bigger esports organizations are not immune to these type of issues. It sucks. I feel bad for the players. You know, you work your ass off to train and win these tournaments, to go to these tournaments and compete, and then to not get your prize money. I mean, aside from making a living, you know, that's something you earned, and that trophy, you know, doesn't put food on the table. So it does suck.
Like, the only thing I want to add to this is that I'm a little bit afraid of the future, because right now there's a lot of players being teamless, a shit ton of players actually, and a lot of new teams being formed, a lot of new teams picking up StarCraft as well. And I just genuinely hope the community doesn't pick up every team as a scam now, as a potential scam.
Right. That was always my problem, because I was always very defensive of, like, for example, one of the ones I was wrong on was Apocalypse Esports, and that was kind of recent. They didn't actually scam anyone of money. Like, they just died after, like, 9 days. But as soon as it starts up, everyone's like, whoa, 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 new team. No, they picked up, like, Major, Wellmu, Desro, and a couple other guys. And everyone's like, whoa, 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 LYGFV 2.0. Like, watch out, who are these guys? And they like, I'm pretty sure they sent Wellmu to DreamHack. They paid from there. And then the day after, they just broke up. But they paid, like, you know, they maybe didn't pay the first month's salary, but they weren't a team long enough to maybe justify it. So, like, I don't know. I think you got to put your faith behind some of these teams, because some teams that are genuine have to start from somewhere, you know? It's like, I guess this is also a bit of a controversial one, but is Imber? And I know it is Imber. This is a really weird one to talk about because Imber have had all of this drama in the past of being hackers, of being boosters and stuff. And I don't think they deny that at this point, right? Because that's sort of something which is common knowledge. But more recently, like, they've been fairly legit. Like, some of they're kind of a big clan kind of thing, but they also have, like, a pro team. And they get a little bit of shit because they're BM and stuff and whatever. And they picked up Guru. But, I mean, for a team like them, like, picking up Guru is kind of a smart move. He's a good player who can get them some results and some vision and gets people talking about them. Like, yeah, I mean, in terms of creating a good, like, vision of your team, it might not be the best pickup. But it's, it's somewhere to start. And now they're picking up like Armani and Forte, and everyone's just like, God damn it, why is Imber scamming these Koreans? Like, the last time I heard is Imber pay all of their players whenever they're meant to be paid. Like, if that's what's agreed, they pay out. And yeah, they might be shady, but you can't just start going like, oh, Armani, don't do it, don't join this team. Like, if this guy's getting paid, he's getting paid. Like, you got to give guys, some of these teams. I know, like, Imber's kind of a weird example because they have been a bit shadier in the past, for example. But you've got to give them a chance sometimes. Like, if Imber want to turn a new leaf and to pick up Guru and Armani and Forte is that new leaf, like, step back. At least give them, like, a month before you slate them, let them fuck up before you slate them again for past things,
Go ahead.
Yeah, I also think like specifically Reddit, or rather the community as a whole, is underestimating the player's intelligence to choose his own team as well. I mean, specifically the players think a lot about their team, think a lot about potential scams and stuff, and the incidents are so rare. And specifically, if you look at Invasion's case, they're so not understandable. They don't make any sense. They're not supposed to happen. And it was like, it's very likely actually that Sabo actually didn't do it on purpose as well, if you go by facts. I have a tough time dealing with the community about this topic actually, because I think specifically the foreign players, like somebody like Harstem, if I may take him as an example, would put a lot of thoughts behind him joining a new team. And I just love to see a bit more support for the choice the players make from the community, actually, instead of pure hate on the team trying to scam away the players or trying to fool them or whatever.
Okay. So the one thing I would say, I want to go back to just what you said about every time someone creates a new team or a new team shows up, that first thing is, where's the money come from? Is this a scam? People start overanalyzing it, and they do it with tournaments too. We're going to talk about WESG.
Yes.
And things like that. Like, these tournaments come up and you wonder who's paying the money. Like, why is someone putting $400,000 into StarCraft rather than thinking, fuck yeah, man. I mean, you see the post on Reddit. Yeah, they're excited. But at the same time, there's always that baseline skepticism that comes from years of people doing really stupid and shady shit.
Elsker in the chat says, I think to be honest, a lot of people find Izimba weird with their signings because they don't understand how Izimba are affording it, which is exactly what we're just saying. Like, they're like, well, where's the money coming from? You got to realize, like, pretty much the majority of esports teams that start up nowadays probably don't start with sponsors and all the rest. They start because someone has an initial investment or an interest and they have money to spend, and their sort of hobby is having an esports team. And yes, because it's a hobby, they may not take it as seriously, and that may be where the issues arise, but it's still one of those things, like, it's got to, certain teams have to start somewhere. Not everyone starts being sponsored by Razer and, the esports clothing. You know what I mean? Like, you got to start somewhere. Like, the money's got to begin somewhere. It's one of those things I could rant about for a while, because it's one of the things I feel the community has a right to be doubtful of. But the more doubtful they are in the way that they're being doubtful, they're being, like, aggressively doubtful, And by being aggressively doubtful, they're, like, making a bad energy around this sort of topic,
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I agree as well. I'm ready to move on to the next topic if you guys are.
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, so Root has taken on a new player. This is Hero, not Hero. You know what I'm saying? So they have taken on Hero. It's another Korean coming to a North American team, or just in general a not Korean team, which has been a trend that we've been seeing a little more and more. And it's exciting always when a good player gets a good home. but yeah, he's going to Root. Root has been a bed for a lot of players throughout the years, where people have come and gone, come again and gone and come again. And I mean, he seems to be happy where he is. It's an exciting pickup for the team, and he's going to continue playing in the GSL. So that's another thing to think about. One of the issues and the concerns before is, everyone wanted region lock because they didn't want Koreans coming to the scene and taking over spots, being that dominant force where you come to a tournament and then you have that one Korean that's going to, waylay everyone. 2016 was a year, though, where we saw that didn't always happen. Your Pulse, your Hydras, these people that were dominating tournaments were proven to be not invincible. Thank you, Neeb, and those like him. So now we have Hero, though. He's going to keep playing in GSL, and then any potential foreign tournaments he's allowed to play in. So that's exciting, and it's exciting exposure for the North American scene.
Yeah, I mean, I'm part of Root, which a lot of people don't know, but I'm part of Root, and when he got announced, I think everyone in the team was very excited. He was very excited when he joined the joined the Skype group and everything, which is always really cool. He was like, "Yo, hi," and then he's like, "My English so bad, but hello, I love you," and stuff like this. So that was really cool to see. I mean, Hero is such a cool, seems like such a cool guy. He's a very lovable player. I think it's a great pickup for Root because he's the sort of player who's very marketable, and I imagine they're going to be very happy together. I feel as though they're going to be. I feel as though it's going to be a good match. And as people are saying in the chat, I think the one thing we've got to mention here is the announcement video was so good. It was so sick. I just played it on the stream, but without sound, it just isn't there because the song really makes it as well. It's good. I like it though.
So I mean, there isn't too much to say about it. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's another really good player coming to North America. Unfortunately for Gemini, it's not the other Hero, but
that's true. He isn't actually moving to North America. But he will. I think he's not going to move to North America. He's going to stay in Korea. But it still means is he really?
Yeah, yes. With Kalazo and Hydra.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
that is pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is, even just being on a foreign team gives you more exposure and opportunities in foreign events anyway. Even if you're not going to move out here, you still have more chance to get invited to something or more chance to kind of get invited, even online stuff, So I think that's really cool. It just makes him more accessible as a player being on a foreign team.
Yeah,
I think that's.
Finished.
No, I was just going to say I think that's really cool.
I think the sickest thing there's for Hero joining Root is when I look at what Root made out of Hydra. Before he was just another Korean, and now he's one of the sickest personalities.
He's Dongwon, man.
Yeah, he's really sick. He's just basically him learning English, him being on another level as a player as well, winning a lot more, enjoying his time with Root getting a lot of exposure with him. Likewise, Hydra getting a lot of exposure with Root. I think it's a perfect fit, and I'm really excited for the future, especially if Hero takes a step to North America, which he wants to do. I think he wants to go over one time to go to IM Katowice most likely. That's at least I have in mind.
Yeah, I think if basically I think what they said is if he has a global tournament coming up or somewhere where it makes sense for him to go to the Root House first, he would go to the Root House. But I would imagine that's something more likely to be DreamHack Austin than a European event because
Austin isn't Austin circuit though.
Right. Okay. Sorry, but I imagine it'd be an event that's in America, not Katowice. I think the idea is they don't want to say it outright, but I think the idea is BlizzCon. I think that's the sort of. Because actually it would work out really nice because, I mean, the Root House is really close to BlizzCon, so it'd be really sick for him. It's not so close to where they play the initial week, if they do the first week. But that'd be cool. I think that's what they're hoping for. That's what they're hoping he comes over for. But again, I think if there's an opportunity that makes sense, he would kind of join. Actually brings us on to quite nicely. Good point here, FeaR. I like this because IM Katowice has been announced. Good job. This guy. Is he trying to take our jobs? Man. I think we need to kick him off before he takes us over. This is crazy.
Ouch.
I mean, yeah, IM Katowice, and it's going to be a $250,000 tournament, an open bracket global event with good old server qualifiers back once again. It's kind of back to what IEM used to be. Honestly, IEM used to be this event where you would have the only difference is actually now it's server qualifiers, so anyone can try and qualify, but you must play the games on that server. So, for example, Europeans can qualify. Anyone can play in the European qualifier, but the Koreans probably have a tough chance because it's really bad ping for them, right? So that's kind of the idea. But it means that the NA qualifier is going to be stacked with Koreans and Europeans, and it's going to be absolutely brutal. So it's kind of like one of these events where the NA qualifier becomes the most stacked qualifier, because not only do you have all the Koreans playing in it, but you also get all the top Europeans playing it as well. So, but it's that's kind of the one difference. I mean, IEM always used to be this event with multiple qualifiers, which paid for your trip, and then there was also an open bracket at the venue, which they never really made that big of a deal of. But I think that might change this time around a little bit with how they run it. So, I mean, I remember the open bracket. They cast the open bracket, but it always seemed to be one of these things that was like, I mean, as it is, it's like a preview to the event. But the open bracket really seems to like large special. It's got 2 days of its own this time, so it's looking to be really sick. I mean, I'm just gonna throw it to FeaR. I mean, what's this sort of event mean for you? I mean, obviously it's a global event, so it's a bit different to like a circuit event. And you can still go to circuit events, but do you think it's cool from your perspective to be able to compete in a completely open bracket compared to like a circuit bracket?
I think it's absolutely perfect, to be honest. I think it's really good for the state where StarCraft is in right now. Because if you think about the pro scene declining a bit and losing players, it's gonna motivate a lot more lesser players to play in those open bracket events. Mm-hmm. That's why I love the trend going to circuit events being open bracket as well. I think, for example, if I take myself as an example, those server qualifiers are always really brutal. Usually you would have to go through like 5 tough opponents like Snoot, Neep, not Neep, sorry, like Snoot, Showtime, a Harstem, a Marine Lord, you know? And now it's just like you have a good run in a tournament. You maybe get 1 or 2 good opponents, but you still get some money. Like it might not be like 3,000 or whatever, but it's like 600, I believe, for round of 44.
Yeah, round of 44, 600.
Which is really amazing for an aspiring pro gamer like me.
Which I think is like, it must be like, sorry to interrupt, but just to kind of quickly clarify for people like what is round of 44. If I'm not mistaken, that's sort of like. It's like, I think you win like 2 best of 3s more or less, and you're in round of 44, more or less, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's around there. Like you have to, if it's double elim, after the first set of elimination matches, you're in like round of.
I'm not sure if it's double elim or groups though.
Okay.
Like, do you remember this weird system IEM always had with their groups?
Consists of 4 double elim brackets of 16 players each.
Is it?
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but anyway, to come back to the point, I think it's really good for anyone who's aspiring to become a pro. I think it's a really good step forward, and I'd obviously love to compete in it.
Well, the one thing that's actually, so I have some teammates that wanted to go and play and, compete, and I was going to go to Katowice too to, not play, but I was just going to go for Katowice. But the one question we have is, they just announced information today about signing up, but how many people are actually going to sign up? Because obviously a 64-player open bracket sounds pretty large, but when it's a global open bracket, like it's open to everyone, I do wonder, even though the Koreans don't necessarily have teams to support them to get there, I wonder how many of them still fly themselves out, because I imagine a lot of the top Koreans who don't qualify will have money to get themselves out. But even a lot of the other Koreans, like, you think about if you're a Korean player going to this event, I mean, Korean flights are expensive, right? But we're talking about, well, top 44 is 600. So even if you go and you don't hit, if you hit top 44, which as a Korean you're probably very easily expected to do, it's still at least going to be playing for like half your flight, right? So that's a pretty safe, like, it's not, what I'm trying to say is that it seems as though it's an event which might be very affordable for Koreans to get out to, because there's at least some reward back. And even if they lose money, they can say, well, hey, yeah, I lost some money, but hey, I got to go to Katowice, I got to play in a tournament here, and that's always good. And it's that chance of going all the way as well, obviously. Like, yes, it's a bit of a risk, but because they pay out so early into the tournament, it's not as much of a risk as it maybe used to be to fly to these events, where you didn't get paid until, like, top 8 or something. So,
yeah,
I think the price was really... I mean, it's exactly the same situation for you, for example, where you say you get a couple of good opponents and you've got $600. Because yeah, it helps you to support the game. It justifies it. So I do wonder how stacked this is going to be and how full it's going to be, because I could genuinely see this being like full of reputable names, like pro names that, you know, you've got these players. Let me just say, for example, like what I'm saying is that I think it's going to be full of names which casual players would mostly recognize.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean? Like, because you can get these open brackets, and like DreamHack rounded 96 and rounded, well, not around 96 so much, but like DreamHack rounded 64 is stacked. But the casual players don't realize that. They say like the couple of pros that they know, and they're like, oh, well, they're favorites. But the reality is these pros are playing against people who they play against on ladder and lose to sometimes, right? So I think this is going to be really interesting to see how stacked it is and to see just who signs up. So kind of Vince, man.
One thing I want to say is I don't think we've ever had that kind of a prize pool before, right? Like for no, I think BlizzCon is usually what, 100,000, 200K.
Yeah, but it's 100,000 for the first at IEM, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so
So-
you know what?
Yeah, it's not 250 for the first.
But I mean, that's
Yeah.
what CS:GO was at, right? CS:GO for the last couple of years before they upped it to $1 million. The
Yeah.
baseline major was
it's a really solid amount of money. I think we've seen prize pools.
It's actually insane.
I think
if
Katowice,
you divide the prize money.
I think Katowice, because they did 100K winner takes all, right? So
Yeah.
they've done that before, and that was just 100K. So 250K is a lot.
Yeah.
Like you said, like I think the BlizzCon prize pools upwards towards that sort of level. It's like
I think it was
500K?
200K this year. Last year, I mean.
someone in the chat will fix this, but it is a large prize pool. I think that's the point we're getting at.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
You know, this is a large prize pool. To put it into perspective, the circuit events this year are 100K prize pool overall per event for the DreamHack Austin and so on. No one.
No.
I think it is. I think they're. I think like DreamHack Austin's 100K overall and stuff like that, for example. So.
Yeah, it might be.
So yeah, I think
I can do the
250K
math
is
if you
pretty
want.
cool. Well, it's some. God damn it! I'm all over the place now. Whatever. Either way, it's a sick prize pool. So yeah, it's 100K first place. I mean, that is BlizzCon level, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is BlizzCon actually.
Yeah, it's basically BlizzCon prize pool. I think BlizzCon prize pool is a bit. Yeah, I think it more or less is BlizzCon prize pool because like
It's even more, I
BlizzCon.
think.
Yeah, you know what? It would be really easy to do just to open up the BlizzCon Wikipedia, like.
Yeah, well, you're the host, not me.
Yeah,
I don't wanna
I'm
take
doing
over
it.
your job, I think.
I'm figuring it out. I'm getting us there, boys. I'm taking some action to actually figure something out. God damn it. Why is it never simple to find the right page? Recent events, global playoffs and finals. Prize pool, 500,000 was BlizzCon.
Oh,
Oh,
what the
right.
fuck?
BlizzCon this year was 200K first place. I completely forgot about that.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
It
it
was
changed.
200K for first place.
The
Oh.
last year was different, though.
Yeah, the last year
before.
was 250 then.
And now
Yeah,
it's,
they doubled
it's a
the prize
different-
pool, right? I forgot that.
Yeah. Yes, we are getting there. We're figuring it out. In 2015, first place was 100,000. It was 250,000. So this is like the prize pool of a 2015 BlizzCon. I was gonna say like, there's no way they make the prize pool of the global event bigger than BlizzCon, right? Like that would have made no sense at
It
all.
would have been insane, man.
Yeah, that would have been really insane. So yes, BlizzCon is 500K. So this is 250. But that is like what BlizzCon was in 2015. Like,
Yeah, StarCraft that game.
and I think the really sick
I
thing
don't think
is
so.
the spread, the spread of it. So it's nice. I mean, overall, I know this isn't our topic, but overall, I feel this year has been, or this year is set up to be a really cool year of StarCraft, where we've got a lot of healthy online stuff from multiple organizers, which is really awesome, and we've got a good amount of offline live events that aren't too many for the players to play in. It just feels really healthy this year.
Yeah. I think, I always like the idea. I know that there are a lot of reasons this couldn't work, but I like the idea of, I like the idea of an online event that does like points, but it like serious points, right? Like where it plays into WCS somehow. Ah! Sorry.
What was that? What
That was the random autistic moment of the stream.
Phase 1.
Oh, phase 1?
No, they won the round.
For fuck's sake.
God damn it. You see
All right,
us,
anyway.
you see us go, people. Can't get
So,
them
yeah,
there.
I think that it would be really cool if we had some more. And I thought about this with the Lycan League back when they were talking about ways to go for 2016. And I just really thought that you could really strengthen the online scene. And you could have even compensated in 2016 for the lack of in-person events for the Korean scene, right? So you had the SSL and you had the GSL. You only had, the 2 seasons that we had. You could have had an online event that had much less points given for WCS, but it's something that made it worth it for them to do, and it still gave them a little bit of money and something to do between their term in the GSL and the SSL. Maybe kind of restrict it, so if you made it to one of those, you couldn't, or if you were in both of those, you couldn't compete in this one. Something to allow the lesser player.
I mean, I get it, but like the thing is, like, there's so much online stuff right now, like without the need of that, like, especially in Korea, because this is what I was saying. The problem with Korea was Korean players weren't allowed to play in online events, right? So guess what? No one ran Korean events, because why would we run Korean events to have the same 6 players? Not a good players, but we see them every week. Like, it's the same matchups every week, basically. Now, you can run a Korean event and you get, I mean, yesterday I had Bjorn versus Zest in the finals of $100.
Yeah, literally a GSL final.
You know what I mean? Like, they're allowed to play in these events and they want to play in these events. So now, there is a lot of events in Korea. I mean, there is Base Trade TV Star League, I've got the WardiTV Weekly, the Leifeng Cup is coming back, the SGL Cup is coming back, which is, like, not necessarily Korean only, but it's quite Korean dominated. Like, that is literally, there's a Limo League as well, how could I forget? That's literally... You could not actually spread all of those out into different days. They actually overlap. That's how much online stuff there is to play in on Korea. I actually think the European scene needs more online stuff this year, because the event organizers are just saying, I'll say it myself. Why would I put $100 in to run an event on Europe which gets 500 to 1,000 viewers when I can run an event on Korea that gets 1,500 to 2,500 viewers, because they just have the better players that people want to watch. This is a good topic for another time, because I think we should keep it.
You're triggering me right now so badly, man. That's insane.
I know, but it's true. Like, that's the thing. Like, you got to think about
that's
viewership.
the fact with what you're triggering me. It's not true, but sure.
But what I'm saying is, like, I think what I'm just trying to say is, like, this year for StarCraft 2 feels very healthy, because StarCraft 2 is a game that can survive online because it's easy to run stuff online for it. It doesn't need a large prize pool because it's a 1v1 game. And that's really good. And with a good amount of offline events as well, boom. I think this year's going to be really good. Anyways, Lycan, take us away from this. Save poor FeaR.
All right, where are we going to next? The Korean players dominate WESG. So this might be a little preview of what we're going to see coming up in IEM Katowice. But, Koreans got to come in and compete uncontested. They did do regional qualifiers, but my web browser is screwing up for a second, so I can't scroll down on the.
So I think basically everyone said, like, the real event was the not even the Asia Pacific qualifiers, because that was only TY and Maru anyway, but the actual Korean qualifier, which was played all the way back on October 15th and it had like TY Innovation semifinals, Maru, it had everyone in it. It was just a massive open bracket Korean event, and all the Koreans played. And, they had, like, Beyond Zest in the second round, for example. So, this was kind of one of those events where it was always going to be dominated by... It wasn't necessarily always going to be dominated by the Koreans. In fact, with only 2 Koreans going, it had more chance to be dominated by non-Koreans, right?
Yeah.
But the Koreans ended up dominating, is kind of the storyline, I guess.
I mean, and there's some good Koreans. TY has been pretty good for a while, and Maru's Maru. Even if he didn't make it to BlizzCon last year, that was more just a circumstance of or a product of circumstance rather than a lack of Maru's skill, because we very much know what he is. What do you think?
Well, I have a tough time with agreeing on that Koreans were dominating this tournament. Actually,
so TY did lose to Kalazir, right? He lost to Kalazir 2-0, and he also dropped a map to Showtime, and he also dropped a map to Cham. But then they went into the playoffs, and in the playoffs, let's bring it up on the screen. In the playoffs, Mario went 10-0 in groups. He went 3-0 against Scarlet, then in the quarters, and 3-0 against Showtime. And TY went 3-0 Stefano and 3-0 Neeb to get to the finals.
Yeah, but
So-
sure, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel as though the groups were kind of close, but like when it came to it, like these guys were just above the rest of the playing field when it came to like the playoff day.
Yeah, but I feel like Mario against Scarlet was the only series where we could really see that Koreans were dominating.
Okay.
But I only think you can take that one actually, because Neep against was it Neep against TY and Mario against Showtime?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it was that way. First of all, Terran imbalance. I want to play that card right here because I think actually Showtime and Neep both have been very, very impressive against Koreans the last few months. And now they are literally outclassed by Terran. Like, I don't see both of them winning ever against a Korean Terran. While they beat Korean tosses, they beat Korean Zergs as well. On the same note, like TY Free or Stefano. Stefano is in a very good shape again, but yet not one of the great foreigners.
So you think? I'm sorry, real quick on Stefano. You think he's in good shape? Like, do you think?
Very good shape actually,
Okay.
but not yet on the top level. But what I dislike the most about this is that like everyone on the community is like rubbing their hands. You know, now we have been saying this for a year now. The foreigners will suck again. You know, it has been only this one event, and then one more, and then one more, and then one more where they did well. But now, you know. Like, I just fucking hate the mindset. I really can only disagree with everything that's been said about this.
I completely, I sort of agree because actually, like, it's one event. It's like, it's not the end of the world. And the thing is, what really sucked, I think, was that people were like, oh my god, why just give the Koreans free money? And the thing is, like, that's not what this event is trying to accomplish. Like, I went to WSG in Brazil, and you can tell that this event is about being, like, sort of the Olympics of esports in a way. You know, it's about representing your country. They don't care that they are not bringing you the best lineup ever for the grand finals. They care about the storylines of the countries against each other and who can represent Latin America, who can represent Europe, who can go to the global stage. You know what I mean? And they set it up like that. Like, the introduction was, we're going to walk in with, each player from all the countries. Like, here's China, and the Chinese players walk in and stuff. Like, it was set up like that. And I think that's one of the things I think that on Reddit really just never kind of came across to a lot of people, you know? It was never designed to be IEM Katowice. It wasn't designed to be BlizzCon. It was designed to be an event where we see the very best people from this region and this region and this region come together. And I think it did that, honestly. I mean, I wouldn't say that this was an uninteresting event because it wasn't staffed with Koreans. I thought the games were great. But I think it missed a lot of people's kind of, where a lot of people just didn't take it for what it should have been taken for.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I also think it was it was just like an odd event. Like, it was announced that we didn't hear a lot about it, and then, a little bit of stir up. With
well, I mean, the organization left a lot to be desired. I'm pretty sure they booked casters. I mean, I know they booked casters within 2 or 3 days before the events. Like,
Jesus.
I mean, I literally got told on Sunday that I could go and cast in Brazil. I got on a plane on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Sunday.
Yeah, it is pretty intense. Right. We agree with that. TY, fantastic finals. If anyone didn't see that finals, go watch the finals. If you don't watch anything else, go watch the finals, because I know it's TVT and everyone's like, TVT, but incredible finals. I mean, that's the finals people dream of, so.
Yeah, and it was a better event than we, now hopefully in 3 months, 6 months, we don't hear, hey, WSG hasn't paid us shit. But, it's ran by Alibaba. It's,
yeah, they're paying. They're paying. Like, I can confirm they're paying
Wait,
stuff.
wasn't the controversial about WCA though?
WCA was
controversial. WSG
controversial.
or WCA?
WCA was controversial.
Yeah, I think WSG was
because Nurture didn't go to WCA because he didn't get paid for the year before. Something.
And all the Liquid players.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But
yeah, so it's always good when someone new comes to the scene and actually does right by the players and talent.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
What's next, Wardí?
We're gonna whack us into some fun drama. Guru has now received a lifetime ban from all base trade TV. FeaR loves this one. From all base trade TV events. So what happened here is first of all, Guru got temporarily banned from base trade events, and the reasoning was because Guru's a bit of a controversial guy, and there's been accusations of him stream cheating. There's been accusations of him not doing tournaments, but like doing on ladder and stuff, like stream cheating, like doing daft things, saying some pretty stupid shit. And so he got, as far as I'm aware, he got temporarily banned because it was like a preemptive measure to temporarily ban him before he caused shit in base trades tournaments, which was debatable. I think they're well within their right to ban him, and I could see why. But they even said, like, in the tournaments, he's behaving like he hasn't actually done anything bad in their tournaments. They just wanted to make sure he wasn't going to do something bad, And they said, like, if 3 pro players can come out and vouch for him, he can play again. So it came to the Ting qualifiers, and in the Ting qualifiers, Guru decided he was still banned temporarily, and so he decided to play on a Smurf, and he got figured out, and so base trade banned him for life, which is understandable because if he went for a massive run through the winner bracket or something, and then they find out, fortunately they found out after he knocked out like 1 person, then went to the losers bracket, then they found out. But if they found out after he knocked out like 7 people, they've got to replay a qualifier, which is a massive pain in the ass. So the drama is the fact that should he have been banned in the first place? Should he have been banned in the first place? Or, I mean, I'm interested to hear FeaR's opinion on Guru, because everyone has vastly different opinions on Guru. I want to hear what FeaR has to say.
Yeah, I think the first ban was not reasonable by base trade TV. I specifically think the restriction I made that if 3 pro gamers vouch for him was very, very, very. I can't go around the word retarded. Sorry, because Guru isn't very liked in the pro scene at all. So he doesn't get. I didn't think it was fair for him because I wouldn't vouch for him because I personally dislike him. So, yeah. But a lot of people think like that. Guru's a bit of a weirder guy in the scene. Not necessarily a bad guy, just weird, hard to talk to. But not a bad guy, He might be the nicest guy in the world, and I wouldn't know. So I don't wanna judge him here. I just wanna say that the first ban it should have been a temporary ban with a time limit. So, like, for example, a month or 2, that would have been, I'm not even sure if that would have been reasonable, but it would have been more reasonable at least. And then I think Guru's decision to play on a Smurf was obviously stupid and obviously wrong. But on the same side, I can understand it as he was very frustrated probably. Like, they're literally taking away all his possibilities to play in tournaments. There's this big qualifier coming off of one of the new bigger online events, and he can't play because he doesn't have a chance, basically.
So I look at it, it's a tough thing, right? There are a few nuances to that situation where you got to wonder, how do we feel about this? I agree that I don't really know the full circumstances of the first situation, but I've heard a lot of people that I respect say that it was kind of not deserved, that first ban. Or at least the severity of it and whatnot. But then, to circumvent it, you got to put the blame on Guru, right? You took the risk, regardless of how you ended up in that situation. You took the risk, and now punishment came. But then there's the part of me that's, sympathetic. I'm like, I don't know Guru. What's Guru's circumstances at home? Is winning these tournaments or competing in these tournaments have a significant impact on his livelihood? Did he lose out a lot of money for an unfortunate circumstance where he shouldn't have been put in general? So he was just trying to get around it to, make ends meet. Like, I don't know his situation. So if it was just, well, fuck, I want to play in tournaments, then I kind of have trouble feeling bad for him, other than the fact that he shouldn't have had the first ban, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. So, like, to come to the result, if I would judge the ban, I would think it's a really tough situation. I'd like to compare it to the Ep.4 case, if you both are familiar with it. I think there's no right or wrong here. Like, both perspectives are like, somebody did something wrong, but the punishment is too big. But on the same side, if the punishment is too low, the integrity is kind of gone from base trade TV, right? Which is the same as Walt in that case. So I literally think it doesn't matter what they are doing, it's gonna be something wrong in some kind of perspective. So I don't want to sit here and say, hey, get Guru back in. I don't want to sit here and say, hey, it's completely right. I just can't. The only thing I can say, I can't judge it. I think there's been mistakes on both sides. Well, Guru's one are obviously weighing a bit more, or massively more to say the least. But on the same side, myself as a player, I see his frustration. I see where it's coming from, and I want him back as a player, but as a person, I want him gone. If that makes any sense. Like, I mean, it's very tough for me as well.
I think as an event organizer, I think once he smurfs when he's temporarily banned, you have to ban him because that is messed up. So it kind of comes down to the first ban in the first place. It's one of those messed up situations that's kind of sad on. It's just kind of unfortunate the way it played out. Like, and maybe it shouldn't have played out like this, but the way it did play out, like, what can you do in the end? I guess. All right, let's keep moving on along to kind of.
All right, let's fucking talk about something happy, right?
Yeah.
I can't find the video because it wasn't a major part of the thing, but there was a video of me back in 2015 on the late game saying, you know what would be fucking awesome if there was a voice pack with Total Biscuit telling you that you're an idiot because you're running out of minerals or you're supply blocked. And I tell you what, man, it happened. There is a voice pack now where Total Biscuit has more lines than anything else. I think he says things in places where the regular game voice pack just kind of recycles messages and all that. He's very specific. He's very snarky. He's very much just John fucking Bane, man. And it's wonderful. 790 something, 799,
749, I think.
749, right? Definitely get it. It's well worth it. If you want more of a preview than the Giving Game, because I only think they give you a few of the items. If you want a better preview, go to Nathaniel's YouTube channel, and it might be still on the front page of Reddit. But he does a video where he goes through plays a game of Terran, and it's just John constantly talking because he.
I'm gonna quickly play a couple of the clips that they added in the preview, just so people get a quick idea.
You're supply blocked. Might as well GG now.
You guys can't hear this, obviously. You guys just sit up.
Yep.
Your SCVs can't mine when they're dead. We must place that on creep. Well, you do. I'll just watch.
They're pretty fun. I think this is the thing. Like, so they've added in a few announcers lately, which is, when I say announcers, they are these. Basically, it's exactly the same as this, where they replace kind of the standard voice lines with players, from people from the lore. So you kind of get I don't know what you can get, like an Abathur. I don't think it's not my sort of cup of tea, honestly, but you can replace like with Abathur and stuff, saying things. So this is the first one that's like an actual person doing it. It's really funny. Like, actually, some of his lines are kind of hilarious, honestly. So they're fun. I think it's fun. This is the sort of thing that kind of gets people to put some money into StarCraft because it's fun. And yeah, I can see. I mean, it's not something I would rush out and buy because it's, for me, like. I mean, the thing is, I'd probably buy it just to complete my set, right? Okay, I'm the odd one out. I think it's fun. It's just, for me, I just like to play the game and try and be bad some more, I don't need Total Biscuit to tell me I'm bad. I know it already. But it is fun. But it isn't something I rush out for. I'd rush out to buy a portrait to collect it, because that's my sort of thing. But I mean, FeaR, you obviously like it. Do you use an announcer in the game?
No. I don't.
No.
Because there's one simple reason. I can't pay online because I'm not 18 yet. And my parents don't have an option either. Else I'd fucking buy it. I would have bought the 16 portraits from the BlizzCon as well, but I legitimately can't.
Wardí is saying that the in-game store is not the... Or not Wardí. Revenge Toaster says the in-game store is not the same as the shop in the browser. Oh, is that saying like you get a different portrait for the browser?
I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, go out there and buy it. I'm not being paid by Blizzard to say that. Buy that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you can buy to support StarCraft, and it is fun. And yeah, cool. Total Biscuit announcer done. All right, so I wanted to add one thing in quickly. So we were going to talk a bit about Nation Wars, but we actually filled the time pretty well anyways. So we're not going to... I mean, Nation Wars was won by the Koreans. It was some good series. I highly advise you go watch them. It was StarCraft. And it's highly entertaining. Just before, though, we wrap up, I want to do one little extra thing, which we didn't originally have planned.
We're gonna do this. Fucking fine.
Wow. Stream banned. Never getting it back. Career
Rip.
over.
Rip Wardí, 2017.
But what we are going to show you guys is not lewd pictures of Lycan, but a teaser that was posted by Spo TV or Spo Games, whatever I can never remember what they're called exactly. But this was a teaser posted, and well, basically people reckon it's Spo TV Games. We don't know what it is, but it starts with a countdown, which starts on the kind of the last day of the last Star League finals. And then it ends in 26th of January. So apparently there might be something coming up from Spo TV Games, a new StarCraft tournament, a new Star League. Anyone got any speculation? I know me and FeaR talked a little bit about this before, and he had some interesting ideas as to what he might think it is. Do you think it's going to be FeaR said it's going to be Brood War. Like, what a spoil sport. He's like, oh yeah, this cool thing is just going to be Brood War.
Yeah, I said it might be Brood War.
Yeah.
I'm afraid it's Brood War. Like, now there's a lot of hype, but it would be logical for the Korean scene, or rather Casper, to go into Brood War again.
So listen, guys, I get that I wasn't here for Brood War, and I'm not the hugest fan of Brood War unless I'm watching.
Me neither.
And Artosis cast it because I don't know the game. They just make everything good, though. I could watch Heroes of the Storm and still enjoy it as long as they're casting it. But seriously, I think it's going to be a Star League or something like that. I hope it's not Brood War. But this whole I'm going to kind of divert the topic real quick. This whole Brood War hype is really exciting. It's really cool to see a lot of people coming out of the woodwork. But I'm like, I think StarCraft 2 is an amazing game. It's really exciting. It's really fun. There's no other game like it. Even with Brood War existing, there's still no other game as visually and tactically exciting to me as StarCraft 2. And I'm just wondering what people look at in Brood War. Is it the nostalgia? What is it that they look at in that case that won't make them tune into StarCraft, tweet about StarCraft, make StarCraft content? Why is it Brood War? Like, what is evoking this?
Well, I think the major argument usually is people say, hey, well, yes, it's StarCraft and StarCraft 2, but it's they're two very different games. I think I think that's the thing. Like, they're two very different games, and I think it's the differences from StarCraft to StarCraft 2 that a lot of people that maybe loved Brood War, they don't like as much in StarCraft 2. They find it more difficult to watch. They find it maybe silly to watch, and they don't see the enjoyment in watching mass carriers. I don't know. Like, I don't know a good example because I'm not a Brood War person myself.
Like that, man?
But I mean, to be fair, like, there's certain things in StarCraft 2. I mean, here's the thing, because I don't know what happened in StarCraft, but in StarCraft 2, I know there's certain things I don't think is very fun to watch either, and doesn't get me, and sort of makes me think, like, why do we watch these kind of games? Because they're kind of stupid. And I think it's like, I mean, there's a bit of nostalgia there, but I think for a lot of people, StarCraft was just this super great thing, and then there's certain aspects of StarCraft 2 that just changes it in a way, and it's like, it's just ruined it for them slightly, and they just can't quite get behind it, I guess. I don't know, like, I don't see it, because I didn't really grow up with Brood War or anything. I got into StarCraft 2 after StarCraft 2 was released. Late 2011, I got into StarCraft 2. So for me, trying to watch Brood War is like, I can sort of watch and sort of appreciate sometimes if I can kind of get what's going on. But I'm just like, well, for me, like, the graphics are just too, they're just too bad for me to enjoy. Like, I enjoyed it. I mean, I watched ASL, and it was cool. It was fun. And I could appreciate that there was some really sick shit going down and the flashes of God. But it doesn't get me excited like StarCraft 2 is, right? So I think it's one of those things where people just like different things, I guess. And I think you just can't expect them to like it because it's StarCraft and StarCraft 2. Like, they're more different than you realize, I suppose. I mean, that's my take on it. I don't know.
I can agree with that. So anyway, getting this back on track. I think it's gonna be something Star League related. I think that was a really good thing for people to put together. But if you're wrong, you're gonna fucking have fucking Wax Angel logging in to Reddit and tearing your asshole a new one because he has no tolerance for people being wrong. Did you guys see that? Not Gay Dragon deleted his account.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
I didn't actually.
He posted something about a potential, I can't remember what it was, I think it was about a Star
So
League or something
it was
like
about, was it not about Africa creating a StarCraft team? They
that.
said,
Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
he said like, oh yeah, Africa are going to fund a StarCraft team, and in reality they said they're going to fund team competition, was it? So I think instead of making a StarCraft team, they were going to make a team league, I suppose. And so, yeah, he got brutalized so hard that he deleted his Reddit account.
The fuck?
Yeah, that can be rough, man.
And that can be rough. All right, we're gonna just wrap it up there because that's a pretty solid 2 hours. I didn't actually think we'd fill so much time with the general news, but we had some good chats and always fun to chat. This is why I wanted a talk show, because I feel as though I can just talk about StarCraft all the time, and it's lovely, isn't it? Such a great game. So much going on as well, like 2 weeks, and like we had so many different pieces of news, so we didn't even really get to talk much more about Nation Wars and stuff. It's crazy. Crazy
Nation
what happens in
Wars
2
was
weeks.
good.
Yeah, Nation Wars was good.
Was really good.
There you go. That's all you need, guys. Like, we didn't even need to discuss it in detail. It was just good. Go watch it. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Let's go right to left and kick it off with our last remaining guest. FeaR, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for actually sticking around and not being a slacker like certain Dutch representatives that were on the stream earlier.
Dutch is man, always the same.
Where can people
Never
find
on
you?
point.
Where can people download your dick pics? Tell us all about it.
Well, we'll wait one more year with the dick pics, okay? Well, you can find me at FeaR. Oh man, this is way too cringy. Fuck you,
No,
John.
go ahead. Go ahead. You can find him
Yeah,
at DPix.
thanks, John, for having me. Thanks for the good talks. Thanks to my team. Gonna keep it simple. Not a G like Harstem, sadly. Thanks for everyone watching and chatting, yeah, giving some good input. Was a good talk. Safe, guys.
My main man, Lycan. We've done 2 shows together now. We're basically brothers.
Yeah, we are. We should become more than brothers. But it'll require an in-person meeting, about a gallon of lube, and some free time. So, I want to say thank you to our guests. You guys were awesome.
I was going to say, so which event are you at next?
Maybe DreamHack Austin.
Oh, that's what my maybe is as well.
Yes, I want to go. So I went to Vegas this last weekend. Wasn't anything too crazy, pretty tame. But I did go to the MGM Grand, and that's where DreamHack's going to be, and that's really going to be exciting. And I kind of want to fly back for that. So some cheap tickets pop up on Southwest. I might go back. But yeah, it was a great show, great guests. I think our discussion earlier in this show, if you just tuned in, definitely go back and check out the VOD. It's going to be, I think it was a pretty productive discussion. There's still a lot of nuance and a lot to be thought about. So if you're a Terran or a Protoss, go in. I know you don't like to put your opinions out in public, but maybe get a group together and then, under a false account, say, look, hey, we're a bunch of pros. We don't want to release our IDs. But go to Reddit, Team Liquid, and just say, as a collective, we want to say this. And then, I don't know, just find some way to get your opinions and your analysis out there and get other people talking about it. Because at the end of the day, we want the change that's best for the game in the long run, not the change that's going to immediately make Protoss feel better about the situation. And not that Protoss don't deserve to feel good about the situation. I'm just saying, we want the game that's going to, be good for everyone. We want Terran to suddenly, go back to 30% win rate versus Protoss. Anyway, so thank you guys for coming on. Wardí, thank you for putting the show together, doing the notes every week, and giving me a platform to come up here and bullshit for a little bit. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on, buddy, and FeaR as well. Oh,
and if you have Twitter, I haven't asked for Twitter followers in a long time, so I want to bring back my hoary ways. And just follow me at LycanGTV, pretty please.
Boom. Just like that, he goes full start once again. Obviously, thank you, Lycan, for being co-host. Thank you, FeaR, for sticking it out to the end, and also to Harstem and Optimus for the... It was a good discussion earlier. It's very hard to obviously discuss kind of things theoretically, right? Because you say one thing, you have no idea what's really going to change, He would have thought TVP would actually be Terran favored at one point in life. Never did I think that, so... pretty crazy stuff. But great discussion earlier. It was fun to actually get some gameplay discussion going. I do want to try and we do the show once every 2 weeks, and I do want to try and get some like gameplay discussion on the show every time, because I think it's cool. I think it's something people should be able to talk about and listen to. So yeah, we're gonna try and keep the gameplay discussion coming. Next show probably in 2 weeks' time, same place, unless the world blows up or unless one of us actually has something to do, I guess. But it'll be in about 2 weeks' time. Information will go on Team Liquid. If you missed the show, it'll go up on YouTube, I'd say through the night, but I probably won't get to update the information until tomorrow morning. It will go up on SoundCloud before then, though, and SoundCloud and on iTunes, so you can probably get it on iTunes in about an hour. Or the Twitch VOD is already immediately available. Obviously, if you enjoyed the show, hit the follow button. You can see when I'm live again in the future. I'm live tomorrow for IEM qualifiers and more qualifiers all over the rest of the place. And other than that, just qualifiers all week long. I'm casting, basically. Some Team League here and there. Shout out to a couple of people who resubbed during the stream as well. Fleetwood Project just resubbed for 2 months. Wardí hit us up for a 3-month resub as well.
Woohoo!
And with that, I'm done selling out myself. Thank you guys for watching. Until next week, or next 2 weeks. How do you even say that? Until the next bi-weekly occurrence, have a fantastic fortnight. Have a fantastic fortnight. There we go. Figure that out. Literally learning as we go. Have a good one, guys. See you later.
Later.